Okay, let's make some improvements for this database. Now, remember what we have added for the product table. We added quantity on hand, and we also added these fields right here. So you have now an address, city, state, zip, and phone and email. Now, could we have done this using SQL statement or SQL? The answer is yes. We could have created a query, okay, to alter a table structure by adding more fields, okay? When we delve back into more queries later on, I might go ahead and remove the quantity on hand and create a query that will create that field for you, writing it with SQL statement. At this stage, what we had done for the product table is we had gone to the actual design view and added the field right here. Okay? A lot of times you may not have an interface like this, and the only thing you have is a prompt where you can enter SQL statements to either create a table, alter it, drop it, whatever manipulation on tables are needed, change a data type on any field, properties, etc., etc. So for that, let's say the best way to see that exercise is to actually take this field out and create a query that will add this field right here. Okay? All right, so I'll do that later. But for now, what I'm going to do is show you something interesting. So I'm going to start with my first query called an update query. So here's what it will do. Now notice that the quantity on hand, I ended up with blanks because I just created that field. Now what if I wanted a query that quickly updates the quantity on hand for me to get started with this database? Okay, because I don't want to go one at a time and start updating how many of these items I have for the purpose of testing. Now, if it is for the purpose of operations, then you want to be as accurate as possible as to what is or how much or how many items of that particular product you have. But for me, to create later on queries that will, for example, do some sort of transactions where the quantity on hand will be updated based on a transaction you've done on a client, which means it will lower the number of items you have if you purchase 2. So it will be, let's say you had 10, it'll be 10 minus 2, etc. So again, you're going to have an update query for that as well. But right now, I'm just going to do a fancy little update query that will automatically, if anytime I use it during the design phase of my application, is just so I can put some dummy data here right away. Okay? This is okay to do in case you have, hundreds to thousands of records. It probably will be a good idea while you're doing the testing phase of this with dummy data is to push one button or run one query that populates this automatically. And so hence I'm going to introduce you to an update query. Okay? So that will be the objective of this video. It's literally to help you populate for testing purposes any field you need, but all at once. So there are no other special filters that I need. Is it a particular product, for example? Is it a set of particular products within a manufacturer? No, I'm not making it complicated. I'm doing it like for all of them. So that means I'm going to use the same number for all of them, right? Now, I could, in the design right away, if I went into the design where it says number here, I could have said that the default value, instead of being 0, right? I could have said that it's 10. So right away, every time you have a new product, you have 10 on hand. But that would create a problem later on for the operational database that you're going to end up with if you forget about this and you forget about this default value and you leave it there. They're going to have inaccurate count of their So you really want something outside of this particular design here to update the values. So definitely I'm not going to do it here. Okay, so I hope I made my case not to do it here. Just leave it at 0. You just need an external query that automatically adds 10 items right away for testing purposes. Okay, so let me just close this. All right, so now we're going to create. So I don't need any save any changes. Again, this is my ERD for this database. So let's go ahead and create this new query based on product that will automatically update that particular field with 10 items. Okay, so I'm going to go over here where it says create. Again, we'll go to query design, and this is what you get. I want the product table. I'm going to add that up. Close everything. Now, notice the selections that I have above here. What kind of queries do you want this to be? Okay, this is a basic select query. This is a make table query. This is an append data or records. This is the update query. This is what I want. I want an update query. So as soon as I do that, notice a few things changed. It's asking me for a field. Okay, I want quantity on hand. I want to update that one from product table. Update to what? I could put a 10 here right away. Or I could say, so this is good in case you want to keep updating, right? So every time you're going to add 10 to whatever you already had. So this would be fun. I could say just simply 10, update to 10, and it would do that. So let me just show you what will happen when you run this. And it's going to say, you're about to update 20 rows. I'm going to say yes, just to show you for giggles what happens. Let me open the product table. Let me double click on it. And notice now I have 10 items right there for each quantity. Okay? But if you run this query again, right? So let's close again. And let's run this query again, right? So this is the query. And this is what I did, right? And this is the SQL statement, by the way, for it. Update product and set product quantity on hand equal 10, semicolon. That's the query behind this, okay? Let me just save it for now. And let's call it add products. Now, as you can see now, this here goes under queries. Okay, so if I run it again, so let me just close it here, and let me close the ERD so we don't get confused here. If I run it again, you're about to run an update query that will modify data in your table. You're going to say yes. Okay, you're about to update 20 rows, and I'm going to say yes. Now, if I go back to product, I still have 10. So it's not adding or it's not accumulating. Wouldn't it be nice to accumulate, right? Just in case you've made changes to a particular quantity or a particular product, you dropped to 5, you just want to add 10 again to everybody, just for testing purpose to make sure you have more products. Okay, well, if you want to do something like that, go back to that query and edit it. So I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to go to design view right here. And for this particular one, I'm going to go to this design view right here. Now, instead of just saying 10, okay, you could specify what you want. I could say product. Now, as soon as I say product, that's a table. So I'm going to click on it and then dot. That's going to tell me what item do you want from product. And I want quantity on hand. Plus, let's say from this point on, we only add 5 at a time. So this is what we call an accumulation, right? So this allows me to accumulate 5 items on top of whatever I had. Now remember, I had 10. So when I run this, I should end up with 15. Now if I run it again, I should end up with 20. So this is going to behave totally different than my initial design for this update query. And that is because I updated using an accumulation method. So let me just show you here, zoom here, what I did. So product, it's the table, dot, quantity on hand is the field, plus this integer, which is your offset, right? And you're accumulating back based on the previous value. Okay, I'm going to say okay. I'm going to save this. Let's just close it. I could run it from here, but I'm just going to simply show you the product table right now. I haven't run it yet. So remember, we have 10. And I'm going to go ahead to this, double click on it, and I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say yes. Now remember here, I need to refresh this. So I'm going to close it, open it again, and voila. Now I have 15 for each one. Now what happens if I run it again? So let me just close this, because you need to refresh your table to see what's going on. And here you go. I run it again. Yes. Yes. And now go back to product. And voila, I have 20. So what I've was able to accomplish here is with the update query is to create some sort of an accumulation within this field. Now I am doing this temporarily. This is not going to be part of the final design. This is simply so I can populate my quantity on hand at any given time. I'm testing my database so I don't go to zero, right? Or, especially when I've created a lot of fake transactions to see how the mechanics of my whole database is working. And then I can clean it up and go back to the update query and update back everybody to zero before I deliver this product to my client.